Good morning. My name is Charles Longino. I'm live streaming today. Let's make sure I've got the mic on today. I did it. That is awesome. We're off to a great start. My name's Charles Longino, and I am the graphic designer at Aspie Tees and Gifts. I'm doing this live stream so you guys can get a little bit of peek behind the curtains. And because yesterday was the election day, we did some doodling. We didn't want to do anything too much as far as designing because I think a lot of people were more interested in what was going on and getting out and voting more than they were, amazingly, than my live stream. But that's okay. I roll with the punches. What we are going to be doing today is we are going to be designing a new t-shirt for the holidays, but it's a holiday that you guys haven't heard of before, and we're going to introduce you to it. It's pretty neat. There are about 1 billion t-shirts out there for the holiday and for Christmas, and so we're going to pick one that is related to Christmas, but it's probably one that you haven't heard of before, and I'm very excited to tell you about it if I can pronounce it, and we're going to go over the history of it shortly. One thing I do want to say is that we do this podcast, or this stream, not a podcast rather, every day at 10 o'clock during the week. And so please join us. You get to see some of the designs that we're working on. Also, as a graphic designer does not mean that I am an illustrator, but I am committed to becoming a better illustrator over the next 6 months. And so I am going to be working on some projects to help develop my skills as an illustrator. And you guys can log in and laugh at me, or you can visit with me or whatever. But I would love to have you join me. I'm excited about what we're going to be doing, and I'm excited about you guys watching this live stream. So let's get started on what we're talking about. The first thing I've got to tell you, though, is that if you guys could make a comment down below, it would be greatly appreciated. We do a drawing once a week for a free t-shirt and a free tote bag for one winner who makes a comment on any of our streams during the week. And we stream on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope. I got all 4. That's amazing. Usually I forget one. But so anybody that makes a comment on any of those, we will put your name in a hat, and we are going to do a drawing. Our next drawing is actually tomorrow. So if you place a comment today, you'll get in that drawing. You don't have to really say anything. You can just say hi. You can just tell us where you're watching this from. Just put, like for me, I would just write Greensboro, North Carolina. We would love to know. It's very interesting to us. We've gotten people from all over the world, and we haven't been doing this stream for very long. So it's nice to get to know where people are watching from and learn a little bit about you. You guys have learned a good bit about me that watch this stream. So anyhow, let's get started. We are doing a t-shirt for a holiday out of Iceland called Jolabokaflod. And I'm going to put that up on the screen so you can see it. This is it here. And this is, I guess, the Icelandic spelling of it. We're going to use the English spelling of it, and it's J-O-L. Well, I can type it out here. Let me just grab the iPad real quick, and I will put what we are going to be doing. I just cut and pasted that off of the website as I was learning a little bit more about it. And in a second, I'm going to tell you about this holiday. It's very interesting. All right. Let's see. J-O-L-A-B-O-K-E-A-L-O-D. Okay. Let's make sure I did that right. Yep, looks good. So in the black is the English spelling of this holiday, and I'll try and pronounce it again. Better yet, I went to a website on how to pronounce this, and I will play it. Hopefully you guys will be able to hear it. Let's see. Did you get that? So that is what we are going to be doing. Now, this is a holiday. And also, as I was searching around and trying to figure out the pronunciation and learn a little bit more about this holiday, I came across quite possibly the ugliest hoodie I ever have seen. And I am going to share that with you. It's going to be amazing. Before we get into that, I'm going to make this logo disappear. And I am going to put up that. And we've got to do the transition. I'm sorry. I love it. You know it. So let's do it. Ta-da! Right? It's great. All right. So we now have this little section right underneath my picture here, and any comments on YouTube or Twitch should show up here. It looks to me like it's only connected to Twitch, but we'll see. And so if you're on YouTube, please give us a chat. Well, let me write something in here and see if it works. Let me do the same thing to Twitch. Okay, so I guess YouTube is not connected, it's just Twitch. So I will try and keep an eye on Facebook. Get over here to the broadcast on Twitter. And then YouTube. So periodically I'll look over there and see if there's any comments I need to respond to. But feel free to ask me any questions. I'll repeat the questions so everybody can hear it on any of our live streams. I would love to someday figure out how to aggregate all the different chats into one and put it up on the screen. So if anybody out there knows a way and you can share it with me, it would be greatly appreciated. But until I figure that out, I've got Twitch on the screen and I'll just read out the other ones. So let's take a look at this holiday. I went to a website about this, and it's actually Jolabokaflod.org. Let me just do this again. It would be .org. So this is how I came into, and I'm just going to go ahead and read it to you guys. In October of 2015, well, no, that's not what I needed to be reading. Here it is. And the English translation of the word is the Christmas book flood. This tradition began during World War II once Iceland had gained its independence from Denmark in 1944. That was the year my mother was born. Paper was one of the few commodities not rationed during the war. So Icelanders shared their love of books even more as other types of gifts were short supply. This increase in giving books as presents reinforced Iceland's culture as a nation of bookaholics. A study conducted by a university that I can't pronounce in 2013 found that half the country's population read at least 8 books a year. It's pretty good. So anyways, this is a holiday that's practiced up in Iceland. They read a lot of books, which makes a lot of sense due to the weather and due to, I know the Gulf Stream goes up there, and Iceland is one of the warmer areas in that area, what would that be, longitude. because you have Greenland, you have Iceland. Greenland's cold, Iceland's warmer because of the Gulf Stream. But it's still very cold. A large part of the year they have limited sunlight, and so it makes sense that it would be part of their tradition to kind of hunker down inside and to read books. I know, especially a long time ago, when the Vikings were there, that they would actually bring their farm animals. Maybe that was Greenland, but they'd bring their farm animals into their house for the winter. Can you imagine? You know, the things that we complain about today. That had to have just been that really, 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 really challenging. I don't think anybody would choose to do that, but you know they did it out of necessity. So, anyways, this is a very interesting holiday for me because I love books. I love reading. Just about every night I'll go home and before I go to bed I'll read a little bit of something. And so it's you know, I like doing t-shirts about books. You know, we've got some great ones. We did not too long ago on a live stream, we did the design for shelf life. If you haven't seen it, go back and take a look. It's a great design. I love it. It's also on our website at Shopify. So you can go to www.aspts.com, take a look at it, and if you enjoy books, I think you'll love it. You know what? It would be a great gift for... Let me get back over here. Let me try that again. It would be a great gift for... Right. So... Anyhow, we are going to do a design for this holiday, and this is what I was thinking. First of all, before we get too started on that, I'm just going to grab the screen, whoops, and see if I can move it over here. Like this, maybe. Not going to let me do it. Keeps wanting to expand it. Well, that's what I'll do. Duh. Alright, see that? Who would wear that hoodie, right? I'm sure it's sublimated on. But you're walking around as a big piece of meat. Anyways, I just came across that when I was looking around to get information about this holiday. And I was just kind of taken aback by how I can't imagine anybody would actually wear that. But there's all kinds of people out there. You know, you would have to be quite a meat lover and not worry about offending people too much. So you'd have to be very resilient to be able to walk around with that kind of attire. But anyways, I saw that. I just had to share that with everybody. To me, that's crazy. But so anyways, let's get going. I'll sit here and talk about not a whole lot for quite some time unless I get focused. We are going to do this holiday. This is the holiday of... And what I was thinking of is, you know, during this holiday, my understanding is, from reading it, NPR did a story about this holiday as well. That's how we came across it. But, you know, what Icelanders like to do is on this holiday they take the books that they receive and they crawl into bed and into nice warm jammies with some chocolate, and then they read their book. That sounds awesome. That's a great holiday. To me that would be a high time. But so what I want to do and what I was thinking to kind of, you know, wrap it up is have a pillow, you know, and maybe Mike Lindell would like this t-shirt, but we would have a pillow or maybe even a My Pillow, and we would put it on the t-shirt, and then on it we would rest a book, and then maybe have some squares of chocolate, like I was thinking in my mind, like Godiva squares. Of some chocolates on there, kind of like with a turn down service, you know how they put the little chocolate on your pillow. So we could have the chocolates, and then I was thinking that we could put something kind of holiday in there, like a pine cone or maybe some sprigs, something along those lines. There's another t-shirt I want to do for Christmas Obviously, I have ADD, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you about it anyways, and then come back to this. But there's another one I want to do for Christmas showing you guys, and we're not going to do it today, but we'll do it soon. I got to do a little preparation for it. But showing you guys how to create a brush where you can, and you can do this. The one I'm most familiar with in doing this would be Illustrator. You can do it in Photoshop, and I think you might be able to do it in Sketch Club. And so I'm gonna see if I can do it. But I'm gonna create a brush where the pattern is a string of lights, and then we're gonna write out some things, and we're gonna make a T-shirt out of it for the holidays, and it's gonna look super cool. I am sure of it. But getting back to this holiday, then if you're just joining us, my name's Charles Longino. I'm the graphic designer at Aspie Tees and Gifts, and we are getting ready to work on a T-shirt which is an Icelandic book giving holiday, which is just fantastic in my opinion. So let's get started on it. Let's clear. Well, I don't want to clear that out. What I'll do is just hit that. We'll rasterize the layer. Okay. We will merge it down, and then we will just turn it off, just in case I have to bring back the spelling of that again, because it's beyond my academic skills to keep writing that out. So anyhow, so I don't know, leave us a note down in the comments, and tell us what you think about the design idea, and we can go from there. And I'm going to go ahead and start designing it. But as I've talked about before, usually I don't finish the designs on the live streams because I'm very slow. And but I show it whenever I'm completed what the finished product is, and hopefully that'll be enough incentive to get you to come back and watch some more live streams, which would be awesome. But if you could just, if you heard the design idea, let us know what you think down in the comments below, on any of the platforms that we're streaming on. And also, you will be entered into our weekly contest. Our next drawing is tomorrow for either a free t-shirt or tote bag with any of the designs that we're working on, including the one that I'm working on now. So I know that at the end of the week, if we got somebody who's actually watching from Iceland, I would love to know a little bit more about the holiday and your insights and how it's affected you, or how it's influenced you and your family, what your traditions are. Those things to me are very interesting, and I would love to hear it. So anyways, let me just quickly jump over here, and then we'll get started on bear with me. I have been getting over a cold. It was a doozy of a cold, but I am still coughing a little bit, but it's much better than it was. So we will get in here and do hello. Now, one of the things that I do when I do graphic designing for the t-shirts is you always have to take into consideration what you're going to be printing on. And so, if we're going to be printing on a canvas bag, we're going to be printing on a t-shirt. And the t-shirts that we print on are ring spun. And what that means is that it has an extra step in the process of treating the cotton before it's made into a t-shirt. And when it's ring spun, what they do is they actually go through and they comb out more of the cotton. And the reason being is, if you've ever put on a t-shirt and it's been kind of itchy, it's because you have very short fibers in that cotton. That means that it was only run through once when they separated it from, the husk and all of the dried up leaves and everything else that gets caught up in the cotton when they bring it in from the fields. And so, they run it through and they pull out all the cotton and get rid of the other stuff. But this actually takes it through another process where they put it through again in a little bit different machine, and it pulls out those short fibers. And then that way you don't have, it's almost like when you shave and you get those little hairs all in your shirt and it kind of itches you during the day. Same thing. And so, when you get something that's ring spun, it's that nice soft shirt. There's usually a tighter weave than you get on the cheaper t-shirts. And so that's what we use for all of our t-shirts. The other thing that I like with our t-shirts that because we have a child on the Asperger's spectrum or autism spectrum, but he has Asperger's, so he's high functioning autism, is that we had a real struggle with him with the tags in the back of the shirts when he was younger. It drove him nuts, and I don't like them either. So the t-shirts that we use have tearaway tags. We have to leave the tags in there so you know what material is made out of it. There's certain laws around labeling for clothing, and so that way you get the tags. And you know what? If you don't like the tags, you pull them out and it won't rip the seam. They come right out really easily. Love it. If you have a kid on the autism spectrum, these are just terrific shirts because you don't rip the seams, you can pull the tags out. So going back to what I was saying about printing, see, I told you I had ADD. It's all over the place. It's just crazy. I need my wife here to keep me on track, but it's just you and me, and so we'll work together best we can. Message me, say get back on track. We don't have all day here, and I'll do my best to do that. So back to what I was saying is that even though one of the things I want to do is work on becoming a better illustrator and better at drawing, not painting, but with a pencil or a pen and ink, is that when I am creating something for a t-shirt, I take a very strong look at creating crisp, clear lines. Whenever we do any kind of printing, we have something called dot gain, which means that ink is going to spread out a little bit when it is pushed through the screen onto that substrate. And so it might be just a little bit, but if you have very small detail in a shirt, it's going to end up, it might end up connecting with the next line, and then you lose that detail. Now we can go down to very fine points with very little dot gain, and there's certain ways that we do that. But it's a higher level of printing. It's more time consuming. It takes more time with the artwork, with the pre-press process, and with the printing on the press. And you have to use more screens to get the desired look you're looking for. So if we're going for just a typical t-shirt, we want to keep that in mind, and we also want to keep in mind the number of screens that we're going to be using. We like to keep it down to 1, maybe 2 screens at most, because we print a lot of our shirts on demand, and so we keep these screens. And then that way, if you want that t-shirt on purple, I don't have to print this design on a whole bunch of different shirts in a whole bunch of different colors in a whole bunch of different sizes and then store them and then hope that people buy them. So what I do is I keep the screens, and then when you buy the t-shirt, we'll actually put it on the press, and we will print out that shirt on purple, gray, whatever you want. And then that way, we can print on demand. We don't have to warehouse and carry a huge inventory of t-shirts, and it controls the amount of risk that we take as far as putting out t-shirts or designs that might not be as popular as others. It's harder than you think. There are a lot of shirts you think are going to sell great that don't, and even if you market it. And then there's t-shirts you're like, I'm not really sure about this design. I think I could have done better, or nobody's really going to buy this, and flies off the shelves. So that happens sometimes. Generally, you have a pretty good idea of what's going to sell, what's not, based on trends, but it does happen. So that being said, when we are designing this and we are drawing this, we want to try and keep it to one color. We want to be able to vectorize it, so we want to have smooth, clean, clear, crisp lines so that it'll print well. And an example of that, I'll bring up shelf life and show you the design there. This is the one that we did not too long ago, and I like it because it has kind of a little bit of a double meaning. Shelf life. You see a lot of T-shirts now that say beach life, salt life. I don't know, mountain life. And so for somebody who reads a lot, we thought shelf life would be a great one, and also having the shelf life of a book like Alice in Wonderland and all these great classic books. We thought it was a really neat T-shirt. So what we did here is, you can see, we can easily vectorize the artwork that we created, and we hand drew this out. And what we did, except for the shelf life, I took a font and did that, and then we moved things around and put some lines in there to make it look like it was a wrought iron sign attached to the bottom of a bookshelf. So it's the design that personally I like. Again, I enjoy reading books. What is that, a bibliophile? So that is something that I enjoy doing, and this kind of gives you an idea of what I'm talking about. You can look even in the smaller details. Everything's separated enough. Is going to have clear, crisp lines. There's not grayscale in there. And yeah, I cannot tell you how many times people will come to us, to print a run of shirts. I'll ask them how many colors is it, because we have to do one color per screen, or we can do a 4-color process to get more colors just out of 4 screens. But when we do that, we have to do halftone printing, which is a bunch of very small dots, and the dots kind of overlay each other to make all the different colors. And it works very well, but what works better is something called index printing, where you actually do the same process, but you break it into 9 different colors instead of just 4, and it gives you a broader spectrum, and it gives you a cleaner, crisper look if you're doing something that is more like a photo. We can actually do something, print something that's, we can print a photo and have it look extremely good using that index process. It's never going to look as good as if you print it out on paper using an inkjet printer. It's just not, because you're not going to get that. We're using, I can go into a whole discussion about the different types of ink that we use, but what it comes down to is, for the durability, we tend to have to use thicker inks than you would on inkjet. And also, we're printing on fiber, not a nice clean sheet of paper that takes very little ink for you to be able to see the details. So anyhow, there's lots of techniques that we use to be able to do printing like that, but it's expensive. It takes a lot of screen, a lot of time, a lot of pre-press, and it takes a lot of time on the press. You've got to go through and flash all the different colors, and I could tell you. When we're doing this, we want to make sure that this design is good for a 1 color. We can simply put it on a screen, easily be able to pull it off, print a T-shirt on it, and then put it away, and have the quality turn out good every single time that we do it. So anyways, so this is a type of design I would have. Oh, that's what I was saying. People would come in here and they would say, we'd ask them, how many colors do you have for this design? Oh, 1 color is going to be black. They'll come in here, and it's this very fine, detailed sketch with all these different shades of gray, and it's all grayscale. Well, each shade of gray is a different color. If we print something like that, all in black, it's not going to look the same. You're probably not even going to be able to tell what it is. And so, grayscale, variations of gray in there. Sorry about that. Variations of gray that's in there is a separate color and a separate screen. And you would be surprised, a lot of these designs that's just grayscale might have 10 different shades of gray combined into that design to make it look good. And so, that would be 10 different screens. Well, we can't one-off print a t-shirt with 10 different screens and line them up, it wouldn't be a profitable venture. So anyhow, that's that. And so, we want to make sure that the designs that we're doing is in one color, and that's why you will usually see me use the pen brushes and do it all in black. We want to make sure that we get consistent, good quality prints, and that's what we do. And it starts with the designing for a t-shirt. So, how long are we into this, and I still haven't started designing anything? Here's another one I was thinking of. This is something that I did quickly the other day. Probably go in and work on it a little bit more. But I want to do something 80s with the boom box, and I was thinking about putting something like 80s rocks on it. But I'm not sure how many people out there would really want an 80 rocks T-shirt. But I do want to do something that flashes back to the 80s for people my age that grew up during the 80s that would love to have a cool T-shirt that kind of reminds them of it. So the boombox does that. I'm just still working on the saying, but this is another one that hopefully we'll be putting up soon. That'll be very cool. I'll show you the other one that we worked on recently because I'm doing this, and this is our Zentangle, and we're going to be doing some more Zentangle here soon. And the rest of it is a font that we use. We didn't draw that out. But anyway, so that's another one. Here's our Thanksgiving T-shirt. Again, we didn't use wood scale. We didn't use grayscale on the turkey, which would have made it look, more picturesque. But we got to keep it in one screen if we can, so we did it more as a woodcut. But I think it looks cool. It gives it that kind of rustic country look that you would see. And then, we use kind of a 1950s font. I think it was fun. I hope you guys like it. So that's one we're putting up for Thanksgiving. So here we go. So when we are doing this pillow, what we want to do is just start with our basic shapes. And we're just going to kind of get in here. I'm going to grab this tool, Smooth. There's two of them here that are procedural tools. Which means it has a little bit of an algorithm into it to make it that plays around with the lines more than just a brush. When you do a brush in Photoshop or in Sketch Club, what it is basically is an image, and then they're going to make that image a dot, and you can tell it in the brush how close you want those dots together, and then if it's really close and it's kind of like a spray and you go across, it'll look like a brush stroke. But procedural has a little program in it that basically says, as this line goes across, take these smaller lines and connect it if it has these angles and blah, 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 blah. So you can do all kinds of neat things with it. I'll just show you here in the procedural tools, but, you can see what I'm talking about. If you get like this one sketchy, this is not, and let's make that bigger so you can really see it. All right. Huh. It should be pulling hairs in between it. Hope I didn't go in there and mess with that one. Maybe they redid it. This is what I was thinking of. Here, see how it pulls those hairs together? When you're close to another line. That's not just an image being done as a dot over and over. That has a little program that tells it to add that little webbing to it. And then the sketchy one, I don't know what I did there. I might have gone into it for some reason and messed it up in here. Or I have kids that play with my iPad, and who knows. All kinds of crazy things happen when you involve children. So we are going to grab Smooth here. And you can see Smooth has that webbing too, but it's finer. And what I like to do with this is, when you talk about, drawing anything, even if it's a vector, you want to make what they call construction lines. Especially if you're drawing a face or something like that, you want to just come in here, you know, if it's a face, you put your circle, you know, you put your chin, you know, in there. And then, you know, you draw your construction lines and say, okay, you know, the 3D movement of this is that direction. My lighting is going to be coming from up here, you know, and then we're going to take the eyeballs here and then, you know, you divide it by a third or whatever. That's the stuff that I'm going to dive back into it. You know, I've seen it over the years, but I've never really paid a whole lot of attention to it. And so, because that's not kind of the work that I do. But I would like to learn how to do it. And I want to share it with you as I go through and I learn more about that. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this sketchy pen. We're going to go back over here, grab smooth, not sketchy, sorry. And then, you know, I'm just going to come in here and kind of give it, you know, the basic look of a pillow, you know, because if it's stuffed, it tends to rise up more in the middle. And then, you know, we'll do, you know, the bottom here, and then we would do, yeah, we can do that. You know, Mike Lindell would be proud, wouldn't he? Wouldn't he? Right? He should get one of these. We'll send him one. That would be a good holiday for his business as well. My pillow and a book. Have any of you guys out there, do any of you have bought a My Pillow? I'm just curious if they're all that and then some, kind of like the commercials say. You know, they look like just a regular fiber pillow to me. But I'm curious to see if they're really that good. You know, what interests me is that new mattress topper. You know, that's a way you can kind of cheat getting around getting a new mattress, just throw on a new topper and then just change the topper every so often. I love our mattress, and you know, you kind of wear it in, you get, you know, your little groove in there. But anyways, I was thinking about maybe getting one of those mattress toppers. So I'm curious to see what you think. If you have one of those or if you have a pillow, leave a comment below. You are entered into our weekly drawing. We're doing it tomorrow. If you win, you get a choice of any of the designs that we have in our shop, either on a t-shirt, and our t-shirts are fantastic, or on a tote bag, which are nice and spacious. You'll love it, and it doesn't cost you anything. But leave us a comment. We would greatly appreciate it, and it helps us out. So anyway, so here's kind of our pillow here. And I was thinking of maybe doing, I think maybe I would do like a book open. And that way the pillow would kind of frame it. That might look kind of nice. And, you know, we can do, you know, some pull marks here, you know, and here's from the weight of our book. And then here, you know, we're going to add some of those Godiva chocolate squares, a little bit bigger than that. And then up here, maybe we could put, let's see, where's our word of the day? Right up here, so we'll try to figure out how we spell this again. So we do like Olabokaflod. Sure, I'll remember how to spell that by the time we're done with this. Oh, and of course I spelled it on the same layer. Let me go in here and erase that. That's gone. Come up here. Grab my pencil, smooth again. You know, they talking about this holiday. I think this is a great holiday. They also, I don't know if it's Iceland or if it's just um, like Norway or Sweden, Denmark, those countries. But they have a term called, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. I'm sure I'm way off and going to offend somebody, but I think it's hygge. And But anyways, what it is it's a word that means essentially comfort. It means getting into those nice warm socks, getting in a cozy blanket, your cozy comfort clothes, sitting down in front of a fire and just getting snuggly. They actually have a word for that. Obviously, these people have long winters, but you know it's just great that they have a word for that. And again, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but I think it's hygge. We should do a design over that too. Look at this. We're like international. We're doing all kinds of stuff here. It's crazy. Stick with us. I mean, you're going to learn all kinds of new things. You're going to, if you have any heritage from these areas, these are the perfect gifts. Couldn't get any better. So we've got our chocolate here, and I think I'm going to come in here. I like to have things overlap so it looks like you actually drew it, instead of just taking some clip art and just, laying the design on top of each other. I might come in here with a little bit bigger squares, kind of falling off the edge of the book, one there. Maybe we can do one that's partially unwrapped or something like that, the line here. Somebody's starting to open it. And then, of course, we need to have our pull marks here going around the pillow so we can see that it's stretching. We want it stretching here a little bit, from the weight of the book. And then, here we could do, who in their right mind would have sprigs of stuff all over their pillow? But, maybe we can do like a pine cone. Does that look like a pine cone? Not really. Hygge. Maybe that's what I'll do tonight. I'll go home, get in some comfortable clothes, put some pillows down in front of the fireplace, start a fire, sprawl out there on the floor in front of the fire so my kids will walk in and wonder what's happened to me. Probably call 911. I'll doze off. Hygge. All right. And we talked about how we conceptualize our artwork here. The first thing that I do is I've got a list of different ideas. We'll sit down periodically. The people here in the company that works on the creative side of things, and we'll sit down and we'll come up with different ideas for T-shirts, and our designs rather. And then once we come up with we start with the design, and then we try to think of what would be the best product to put it on. And sometimes it goes, over between products. But also the shape of the design too. With T-shirts, typically you want the design a little bit longer. We talked about this before. Usually the print area for a t-shirt is going to be about 10 inches across, about 12 inches down. So, if we design it, if we have something that has more horizontal, like this pillow, it might be, but, it wouldn't look right if I put the pillow up and down. It doesn't look hygge, right? It doesn't, what I need to do is get, I'm not worried about it. But it would, it wouldn't look right if I put the pillow up and down and then put the book on it. Yeah, no, I don't think that would look good. And then if we do it across, kind of like the t-shirt I'm wearing now, with the U.S. flag and the design of the flag, and it says "Oh Beautiful" at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. Great t-shirt, by the way. I can pass along to you. It's aspietees.com. Check out their website. Fantastic stuff. It's a find. Don't tell anybody except everybody. So, anyways, when we're doing a design, we want to think about that as well. So, this isn't the best design for the t-shirt. It would be a better one for a tote. But, I think people would want to wear this, especially for the holiday. The tote would be perfect because, those tote bags are perfect for books. So we could do this and make sure that we take a look at the dimensions. The main thing for the tote is, I don't want to go as long as I would on a t-shirt. I can go the full 12 inches and print it on tote, but that's the max. And so, as long as I don't do it oversized and keep it within that, I'm still good on the tote bag. But yeah, this, and the other thing that I'm thinking about is we might want to, let's see, come in here. We might want to take the name up here and make it a little bit bigger so it jumps out, or what I could do is I might cross stitch that into the book or into the pillow. I know not too many people would cross stitch something into their pillow, but at least that would look like it would be a part of the pillow. And I always, with a design, again, I always want to make sure that all the elements of a design are incorporated or blend with each other so that it looks like I didn't just cobble together a bunch of pieces of clip art. That it's a design that flows together. So if I come in here and I do a little bit extra, where I can take that font and then make that font look cross-stitched into that pillow and incorporate it more into the design so it doesn't just look laid on top. Now I'm creating a higher quality design. And, that's what we want to do. We want people to know that when they come to Aspie Tees and Gift, they're going to, let me show you an example of what I'm talking about. I'll bring it up here. Whoops. One day I'll learn how to operate my own iPad. Down here, for this one here, let me turn it. Whoops. Well, anyways, maybe if I turn it like that. Did I mess it up? I did. Let me just move this down. All right, you can see that. And see, when I was doing this Harvest Kindness, my wife said, I'd really like to have something that says Harvest Kindness. We have one kid with Asperger's, and we ended up having to send him to private school because he was picked on so badly in the public schools. Not bitter. No, it was great. It was a great time. And we have another one that's in the process of that he's going through and being diagnosed for autism. He got held back 1 year. Well, he didn't. We decided to hold him back because he was having some challenges. And so, but here's the difference: is the kids don't pick on this one, and he probably has more pronounced attributes of autism than my older son did. My youngest son can sit there when he was like 3. I am not kidding. He would sit there and spin for an hour going for an hour, just spin in a circle, and you would talk to him, say, stop, stop, please, please, stop. And, he just would completely block you out. You'd actually have to get up and go over and gently grab his shoulders and get him to look you in the eye, and then get him interested in something else to get him to cut it out. And so, but he's very popular with his class, which is great. So I'm really hoping we don't have to go through that. Having kids that get picked on, it's soul crushing. There's so much that you want to do and you can't. All you can do is just sit there and watch it and try to give advice. And especially with a kid that has autism or Asperger's, they don't understand what you're talking about. So it's a very hard thing to go through to watch it. Luckily, we found a very loving school for him, and it was great. And he is just graduated high school, and he is a tremendous individual. But we are very sensitive to these types of topics because of it, and that's where our name ASPTs originally comes from, is because we first started doing T-shirts. We started doing T-shirts for our son and more related to autism and Asperger's, and then we branched out to everything else basically. So, but what I was talking about is, here when she had asked me to do it, she really wanted me to just. What she was envisioning is that I would draw out a sunflower and then just, put some text on it, harvest kindness. But I wanted to incorporate it in the design. I always try to do that if I can. Sometimes I just don't come up with a good idea or one that looks good to incorporate anything. But I tried to make this look like it was, coming out as a part of the seeds, where, they just happen to be, kind of gathered here. And in the shape of those words, or somebody came over. Really the sunflower is one that, really isn't completely seeded yet. But anyways, and I think that it was a really cool effect, right? And did I mention that this is for sale on ASPTs and Gifts? Wonderful company. We're known as the quiet company because only the people in the know about ASPTs and Gifts. Maybe I'm taking somebody else's tagline, but you get it. It's a great company. ASPTs.com. Go over there, get something. So, this is a T-shirt that we did to kind of show you what I'm talking about. So back to what we are working on. And it is this one. So what I am saying is, I think I'm gonna do it where I have it cross-stitched into that, and so into the pillow. So I would probably come in here. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. I'm going to come in here and grab the select tool. Just select the book. I think I might have missed some of the marks. That's okay. And see what it looks there. Now, what I could do here is also put it so you can kind of, if I lean the pillow up against the wall, and then I could just, whoops. If I leaned it up against the wall, and then I could actually bring the books down and have it where the books are leaning. And you know what I'm going to do? I should have done this before. I'm going to backspace. Instead of just moving it on the same layer, I'm going to come in here, create a new layer, come back up here, copy down, come back up, clear. So that way we have our own new layer. That way, we talked about it before with this program. It's a rasterized program, and so anything that you do is destructive. And so using the layers when you work with a tool like this or Photoshop, it's important that in Photoshop you take images of your history frequently so you can go back and you don't, and recover anything. But on here is to efficiently use your layers so that you're not destroying other parts of the design that you're not concentrating on. All right. So let's get rid of that little. So we got to go back to the select tool, deselect. We'll go back here. What we working with? Smooth. Then we will grab that layer. I think we're still on it. We'll move it down. What if we took it down here and leaned the book against the pillow that was leaned up, like against the wall? And then we could just kind of do it like that. We're going to see the bed up against the wall, and then maybe we could make, well, I'm getting carried away. I was thinking, oh, we could do a cool headboard and put some kind of Norse design on it. But then again, this is Icelandic. I know that they have Norse roots, but I don't know enough about the culture. But we could research it. We could find out. But still, if it was just like runic. Oh, what if we did that as like runic? Would that look cool? But then again, we want to keep it. We want to keep it the English version of it, I think, because really here in the United States, most of our marketing. Oh, whoops! I'm sorry. Let me move this back down. I'll turn this back this way, like that. Turn our canvas. Okay, sorry about that. But anyways, what if we did this like runic, even if it was stitched, get like the runes for this. I'd have to research that and see if that's still. I'm assuming that's still part of their culture, and that they still use Norse runes, and not I don't mean that they're writing in Norse runes, but it's still something that would be part of their culture that would symbolize the culture to them. That might be cool. I mean, nobody really knows, that doesn't have that kind of heritage is going to know what this means, anyways. So, am I right? I don't know. Leave me a comment. Let me know. And again, what we're doing today is we're just conceptualizing a design. I'll start working on it, and we'll probably carry over till tomorrow, and you can see how we're doing. But right now, what I'm trying to do is get a good picture in my mind about what I want to do before I start. They say measure twice, cut once. That's essentially what we're doing. We're sketching it out and trying to get a good idea in our mind what we want to create. Then we're going to come back and create it, and then we're going to have an awesome t-shirt for and then we will take this t-shirt and it will become part of our hygge. And I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but leave us a comment. Let us know what you know about this. I'm going to do some research on it, but wouldn't it be kind of neat if we did this in runes, even cross-stitched into the pillow, make it a little bit bigger, and then around here we have some sort of Norse woodcut design into like a backboard, and then have the pillow leaning against it, and we could do a little bit of shadow work here. But keep in mind, we can't use grayscale, and so our shadows are going to be solid black. But we could still do that here to kind of give it a look of a shadow. It wouldn't be gradient. We'd have to make that. Anyways, we can make that look good, and then we could put some woodcut runes in here and like squares, and maybe have that come around. And then have the book, move it up a little bit. Excuse me, I still haven't gotten completely over this cold. Move it up a little bit, but have it leaning against the pillow, which is leaning against the wall. And then we could put, that way we could rest, maybe the pine cone, over here. And then the chocolates, I think I would put, the pine cone over here pointing towards the top where it narrow tapers off towards the book. And then here, put a stack of chocolates, we could eat kind of like that, stacked up, 3 or 4 of them, one leaning against it like that, one kind of over here. And, I've been talking and everything, and again, it's, oh, my picture went out. You got to have a picture of all this, right? So, I haven't stopped to take a look at our comments to see if there are any. So, I apologize. I've got 2 thumbs up on Facebook's no comments. Did I mention the giveaway? Comment. You don't get opportunities like this every day. Take advantage of it. So we need comments on Facebook. It's a very interesting topic, in my opinion, about. So let's see here. Periscope. If anybody is watching on Periscope, and I see that one person is, tell your friends, come on over. We're not done yet. But leave us a comment. It would be greatly appreciated. A little bit of love, right there, the hearts. That goes a long ways between you and me. You and me. Some hearts. See what else we have here. This is what, the YouTubes? Nothing. Wait. I have no idea to tell how many people or if anybody's watching. We got people on Twitch. Twitch person. Let's talk for a minute. You need to leave us a comment. The reason being is you will feel more complete and as a better person by doing it. Also, you'll be entered into a wonderful drawing. But lastly, make sure that you like us, follow us, give us a thumbs up, whatever it is, subscribe, so that you can get notice of our live stream every day at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not every day, I lied. Every weekday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. That way you can come back and take a look at some of these designs. You can have fun. We can talk about what we're working on. We can, horse around if you want online, with the old chatty chats. So anyways, getting back to this. But anyways, if you can do that, seriously, it would be greatly appreciated. It helps me out. And it's very motivating to see that what we're talking about is interesting to somebody. So I think this is the design that I'm going to go for. I am going to do a little more research on this topic and find out, about the runes and about, I would hate to put Nordic runes on here to find that, that part of their culture was breaking away from the Nordic peoples, and it's some sort of insult. That would be my luck. So anyways, but if we can, I think that would look super cool. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. And then I got to see, if I'm making the design too busy. One of the big things about design is being able to utilize that white space, focus in on what you're trying to communicate, and not over designing. I over design. I won't lie to you at all. I over design the heck out of things. I love it. It's fun for me. Luckily I've got people that will tone me down and bring it back to me and say, you need to clean this up a little bit, get rid of all of the stuff that you put in there so we can tell, what you are trying to convey through this. So, but anyways, I like starting with the idea of over designing. Let's over design this, and then, we can cut back and cut. It's always fun to design it and go nuts and then just edit it back. But the biggest thing with creating a good design is the editing once you complete it, and getting it to a design that's clear, concise, conveys what you're trying to say, is attractive to the eye, uses that white space, etc., etc. So, anyways, I wanted to do a live stream about conceptualizing design, and that's what I did. And I might decide later, as I'm looking at this, I might sit down and probably sketch this out 3 or 4 times, and then come up with something completely different. And you guys will log on tomorrow. It'll be half drawn, and it will be, I'll have it, somebody in a hammock out in space, reading a book with the words over it. I don't know. I'm not going to do that, but you get what I'm saying. So, does anybody have any last questions? I want to thank everybody sincerely for coming by and watching this video. It was fun. I had a good time. I enjoyed talking about this. My voice is still recovering from the cold and the cough. So we have been broadcasting for a little over an hour. I usually go 2 hours. But I think because of my voice, I think I'm going to cut it off a little bit and see you guys tomorrow. Let me know, if you would, what you think about the design. I take these comments seriously. And if you know anything about this holiday, what a tremendous holiday. It's a holiday where you get a book, snuggle up, eat chocolate, and read a book. If you have children, you know how precious that is to have enough time and quiet to actually read a book. I mean, it's just, you get it. It's fantastic. It's a wonderful idea, especially for a parent. So, that would be a great gift for kids to give their parents. You know what? Yeah, I see my 5-year-old coming up to me and say, you know what, Dad? You go back there, you take a nap. You're looking tired. You go back there, you take a nap. I'm going to come out here